Have you ever heard of a doctor who never asked for money from his patients? Today, I'll share a heart-touching story that proves one truth. What you give to the world always comes back to you. This is not just a story. It is an emotional journey of kindness, sacrifice, and faith in humanity. Stay with me till the end, and I promise you, you'll feel something deep in your heart. Before I begin, let me introduce myself. I am your host, Steven Spielberg, your own YouTube channel, Your Gold, here to bring you tales that inspire, stories that heal, and words that remind us of the beauty of life. Let's begin. Once upon a time, in a small, quiet village surrounded by golden fields and flowing rivers, there lived a young doctor. His name was Rahim. People said he had hands that healed and a heart full of kindness. Rahim had studied medicine with great difficulty. His father was a farmer, his mother worked day and night, and together they supported his education. Rahim promised his parents, "One day I will use this knowledge to serve the poor." When Rahim returned to his village after becoming a doctor, people welcomed him with love and pride. For the first time, the poor villagers had a doctor who understood their pain. But there was something unusual about Rahim. He never asked for money. Whether rich or poor, whoever came to him for treatment, he gave them medicine and care without expecting a single coin in return. Some people were surprised. They said, "Rahim, how will you survive if you don't charge your patients?" But Rahim only smiled and replied, "Healing people is my duty. God will take care of the rest." Day after day, Rahim treated children, women, farmers, and elders. Sometimes he even bought medicines with his own money. But never once did he let a poor patient go untreated. Little did Rahim know that one day the kindness he had given to others would return to him in a way that would save his life.
Rahim's small clinic was nothing more than a mud house with wooden shelves, a broken table, and a few bottles of medicine. But for the villagers, it was a temple of hope. Every morning before sunrise, villagers would gather outside his clinic. Old men with aching backs, mothers carrying feverish children, farmers with tired faces, all came with hope in their eyes. Rahim treated each of them with patience. He would sit close, listen carefully, hold their hands, and give them medicines, even if he had to skip his own meal that day. He believed a doctor's touch is not just about medicine, but about love and comfort. This belief made him not only a healer of bodies, but of hearts. Soon, the villagers began to trust him with everything. They came to him for medicine, advice, and sometimes even for emotional comfort when life became too heavy. Many people wondered how Rahim managed without charging money. Truth was, Rahim lived a very simple life. He wore old clothes, ate simple meals, and never thought about wealth. His friends advised him, "Rahim, you should think of your future. Save money for yourself." But Rahim would only smile and say, "My future lies in the prayers of my patients." The villagers loved him dearly. Children would run to him, calling Dr. Bhai. Women prayed for his health, and men respected him as one of the purest souls of the village. Little did anyone know that destiny was quietly writing a difficult chapter in Rahim's life, a test of his own strength, faith, and the kindness he had sown in others. Because soon, The healer himself would become the one in need of healing.
One evening, after treating a long line of patients, Rahim felt an unusual weakness in his chest. He brushed it off as tiredness, but deep inside, a storm was quietly brewing. At night, he coughed endlessly. His small room echoed with the sound of his struggle. Still, he kept telling himself, "I must not stop. My people need me." Days turned to weeks, and Rahim grew weaker. His hands that once healed others now trembled, even holding a spoon of food. The villagers noticed his pale face, his weak steps, and his fading voice. Whispers spread, "Dr. Bai is not well. Who will help him now?" One morning, when Rahim collapsed outside his clinic, the whole village rushed to lift him. Tears filled their eyes. The man who healed everyone was now helpless. They carried him to his bed. Mothers who once brought sick children to him now sat beside him, praying with folded hands. The children who once laughed in his clinic now stood silently at his door, holding flowers, waiting for their beloved Dr. Bai to recover. Farmers, laborers, and elders gathered under the banyan tree. For the first time, the village felt powerless without the man who had always given them hope. That night, a silence spread across the village. Lamps glowed in every house, but hearts were heavy with the fear of losing their savior. But deep within that silence, a seed of determination began to grow. The villagers whispered, "He saved us without money. Now it's our turn to save him." The very next morning, a meeting was called under the old banyan tree. Men, women, and even children gathered with one purpose: to save their doctor. An old farmer stood and said, "Rahim never asked us for money. Now it is our duty to give everything we can." A widow placed 2 small coins in a basket. Her voice trembled. "This is all I have, but Dr. Bai gave me my son's life." Soon, farmers offered sacks of grain, shopkeepers gave money, and children brought their little savings tied in cloth pouches. Even the poorest of the poor came forward. No one was ashamed. Everyone wanted to save the man who had saved them. The basket began to overflow, not just with coins, but with love, gratitude, and tears. They chose 2 young men to travel to the nearby city hospital. With the collected money, they would find the best treatment for Rahim. Before leaving, the villagers gathered outside Rahim's home. They whispered prayers at his door, as if sending strength with every word. Rahim, weak but conscious, looked through the window. His eyes filled with tears. He had given them his time, but they gave him their hearts. For the first time, Rahim realized the true meaning of healing. It was not one man saving many, but many hearts saving one.
The 2 young men reached the city hospital, clutching the basket of coins as if it were treasure. Doctors listened to their story with astonishment. One doctor said, "You brought enough for the treatment. But what touches my heart is the love this village has for one man." Meanwhile, back in the village, every evening families lit lamps and prayed for Rahim's recovery. The village had never been this united. Children sat outside his house, singing little rhymes, believing their voices would reach Dr. Bai's heart. At the hospital, Rahim lay on the bed, weak yet smiling faintly. For once, he was the one being cared for. The nurses whispered among themselves, "We have never seen so many people pray for one man." Doctors treated him with utmost dedication, but they knew it was not medicine alone. It was the strength of hundreds of prayers flowing towards him. Days passed, and Rahim's strength began to return. His cough eased, his hands steadied, and a hopeful light returned to his tired eyes. In the village, the sound of the messenger's footsteps was awaited daily. When good news came, people hugged each other with joy. Finally, one sunny morning, a letter arrived. Dr. Rahim was out of danger. The whole village erupted in cheers, tears, and prayers of gratitude.
Weeks later, Rahim finally returned to the village. The moment his cart entered, hundreds of villagers rushed forward with tears and laughter. Children threw flowers in his path, women sang songs of joy, and men lifted him gently, carrying him as if he were family. Rahim looked at the crowd and whispered, "I gave you medicine, but you gave me life. This debt I can never repay." The old widow stepped forward, saying softly, "Dr. Bhai, this is not debt. This is love. What you gave us always came back to you." Everyone clapped and cried together, realizing that the greatest wealth was not money, but humanity and kindness. From that day, Rahim became more than just a doctor. He became the heart of the village, a living proof that kindness never dies. Years later, children told the story of the doctor who treated people for free, and how the whole village once saved him in return. This story became a legend, passed from one generation to the next, reminding all that what you give always comes back. And that, dear friends, is why humanity is the greatest miracle. The end. Tell us, would you do the same for someone who once helped you? Share your thoughts in comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.